The beat is nice. I got my boy Rob back, but guess what? The Kings are still an embarrassment. They don't play well in Canada. They got blown out for a second time against the Raptors. My goodness. 124-101. Lots of positives for the Raptors. G League players looking like NBA players tonight. Rob, how you feeling, man?
Relieved.
Play the
Yeah.
Kings 82 times and you'll win 70 of them.
Yeah, that might be true. No, I mean, I think the Raptors played very unselfish. That was very nice to see, right? I think they set, I believe it was a season high for assists, season high for guys off the bench scoring. It was awesome to watch, and I think they played the right way.
They did. They took care of business. When you see a team like the Kings who are struggling up here more than anything, you got to mark it as like, okay, we start off well, which they did. I think it was 11-0 before the Kings made a run. I think got it down to 11-10, and then they went on that run, which the Kings never recovered.
Yeah.
They took care of business, man, and that's what a good team does. I'm not saying the Raptors are a good team because they're not, but I am saying that this is a positive move in the right direction. Both teams have had their struggles all season long, up and downs, and the emotions on the Facebook groups. I see it every single day. I see you engaging with a lot of fans all the time and just going back and forth. That's part of being a great fan, being a passionate fan. That shows that you care. Obviously, a lot of people take shit too far, which is ridiculous. Some people get personal, which is ridiculous. At the end of the day, we all have the same end goal, which is to win the NBA championship. How we get there, I think we all have different ideas, opinions. But man, what was your biggest takeaway from tonight?
It's hard. It's hard to get anything tangible to grasp on in a game like this, right? I mean, I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was Justin Champagnie's an NBA player. I really like what he does. I like him as a small ball five. You know, he's a fierce rebounder, right? And guys who have the nose for the ball, that are undersized but they can run. When that jump shot develops, and you know, this is a guy who wanted to be in Toronto. He wanted to be in Toronto. He said it like right when he was drafted. He's like, I aim to be here. I chose to be here. He was an undrafted guy, right? And I know that his brother gets a lot of hype, right? And then there's a lot of questions about Justin's jump shot coming into the league. What position is he going to play? He's too undersized, etc. But I like him. You know, I really do. I see a little bit of PJ Tucker in him with maybe a little bit more offensive flair.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he gets his hands on the ball a lot. Like defensively, offensively, he's tough. He's in the right position a lot. I think Nick Nurse is starting to trust him. He's been on the court sometimes to close the game, not just in blowouts, but you know, in a close game the other night, he just rode him right to the finish. He almost won the game on that tap. So I like him, and I think that was my biggest takeaway. I'm a little bit, I don't know, was there an injury at the halftime? Why did Delano Benton not get back into the game?
He was hooping. I mean, right before
he was great.
Yeah, he had.
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, he had 6 assists in the first half. Why didn't he get back into the game? They went with Flynn. I think that was probably the cleanest that I've seen Banton play. And I'll tell you one takeaway that I really took away from this. I really like that unit with Utah, Scottie, right, and Justin Champagnie up front. I know that the Raptors don't have a traditional big, but those three guys together, they all get after it. And I think they're a great front court by committee.
Scottie, Banton, and Wananobe are basketball players. Those are the guys that you go at the gym, like they don't do anything like amazing, like they're not like super athletes or like 50-inch verticals, but they understand how to play the game of basketball, and you have to appreciate that for what it is. Those three guys are high-level IQ basketball players, and both you and I love those types of players, man. And I think fans don't appreciate those types of guys enough, and we can't say enough about these guys that every single team needs. Like, these guys are essential to building the right culture, and as of right now, the Raptors are heading in the right direction, in my opinion. Whether what they do with Siakam, which we could get into, is a whole separate conversation, but it's really interesting because they're in a great spot. Both you and I have talked about Scottie overdeveloping right away, being better than what we thought he would be, at least in year one. Both you and I agree that he would eventually get to his level, but maybe not this fast. And the Raptors are like, damn, like we can make a move now, or we can be a little bit patient, give him the keys right now, maybe move on, move off of Siakam, get some young talent, some more assets in return. I know you're a big Chet fan, so we'll see what happens, man. But there's a lot, like the Raptors have a lot of nice decisions to make, and they're, to me, in a great situation.
Well, one of the things I'm noticing is that they're playing without their three biggest guys right now. Really, if you think about it, OG's a big dude,
No
right?
doubt. No
Kem's
doubt.
Kem's a big dude, and Precious is a pretty big dude, right? Relative to this roster, there are no 7-footers. There's not even an Alex Len on this roster, right?
Hmm.
So that lack of size, we saw it. You talk about the Raptors G Leaguers looking like stars. Well, Alex Len is basically a G Leaguer, and he looked like a star tonight, right? Tristan Thompson was playing bully ball, and I just think that against a better team, this is gonna really hurt us because Chris Boucher is just really tiny, and Justin Champagnie is not a center. So I just think that the Raptors, they're really underrated. I think they're underrated, to be honest. I really do. I think they've shot themselves in the foot 3 or 4 games this year. It could have easily gone the other way if
No
just
doubt.
one boneheaded decision didn't go. And with how tight the East is, those 4 games are the difference between being fourth in the East and
That's the
12th in the East,
NBA. That's the
right?
NBA this year, right? Where we have two really good teams in the East and three really good teams in the West. It's wide open for the entire league, and that's why I'm trying to ask you, what direction do you move in? Are you like, damn, like I'm very close to being a top four, top five, top six team? If that's the case, if you truly believe that, let's make a move now and win that move. Or are you more like on the let's be more conservative. Let's think about the future. Where are you at now, Rob?
I would probably move that pick, the next year pick, if there was something really good coming back for it. And I'll tell you why I would
Like
move it
who?
because
Like who? Give me a name. Sabonis?
no,
Okay.
no, I wouldn't move it for Sabonis. I might do.
Ben?
Oh yeah, of course. But nah, I'm not even there. You know what? Like I'm past the point where you need to swing for a big piece because I might be in the minority of Raptor fans here, but I think that Scottie Barnes and OG Anunoby can be special. I really do. I think Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, and Pascal Siakam are a really good supporting group. I know that a lot of Raptor fans see Pascal Siakam as the guy. The advanced numbers don't back that up. The eye test doesn't back that up. He's just a great second, third option. And I think Scotty developing throughout the year and just him being so much further along. I mean, I posted a stat about mid range, right? The long two, the dreaded long two, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who are the long two assassins in the NBA? It's DeMar,
KD, Chris Paul.
KD, Chris Middleton, right?
Chris
And
Paul.
Scotty as a rookie, Kawhi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scotty as a rookie is pretty much better than all of those guys from 16 to 23 feet, right?
Crazy
It's
development.
his
It's
game.
it's nuts to see that, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, he had a 4-3 game the other night. 4 out of 9 from three, right? I'm like, what is happening here? Like I looked at the box score, I'm like, am I reading this correctly? I didn't watch the half of that game, and I had to go rewatch it. I'm like, oh my god, he actually hit 4 threes in the game. If you had told me, like I'm the biggest Scotty fan in the world, if you told me he had a game this year with 4 threes, I would have thought he heaved it from half court 4 times and hit it. You know what I mean? I did not see him taking enough threes to make 4 threes in a game. You know what I mean? So that's been the most encouraging thing. It's like it's not even that encouraging that he hit 4. It's encouraging that he took 9.
A
Like,
thousand. That.
you know what I mean? It's there's I'm noticing, like, psychologically speaking, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
look at a player's mentality, right, it tells you a lot. I mean, obviously you can have the right mentality, the wrong frame, and nothing happens for you, right? If you're limited athletically, right? So 2 points here about Scotty. Number one, I think his mindset, he's so open. He's so open minded. Openness to experience is one of the greatest predictors of success in the whole world. People who are guarded and closed off, it always takes like 500 extra, steps to get them to buy into anything. But Scotty's like, yeah, sure, let's try it. You know? So they're like, hey, let's go to the shooting school. He's like, all right. He embraces it, right? Let's shoot some more jump shots. It's like this is an unwilling shooter taking 9 threes in a game, right? So that's openness to experience and that's adaptability, right? the other thing I'll say is that point that you made about, high IQ guy, but maybe not the best athlete, right?
Mhm.
I think there's a something in the NBA where, and just probably in sports in general, where we misunderstand athleticism
For
and we
sure.
think of it as a high jump contest, right? But
Functional.
in
We're talking about functional athleticism.
exactly, because Steve Nash was not a great athlete, right? But I would say he was a fantastic athlete, right? And you could argue that J.R. Smith or Gerald Green are great athletes, but I
Mhm.
would argue probably in the NBA they're below average athletes. There are some guys who just milk, uh, and it comes down to a couple of points. Number one is angles. Like how do you exploit angles? Number two is hand-eye coordination, right? So you could be the it's just like I was watching Marvin Bagley play, right?
Mhm.
We probably you don't like him as a player, but you probably cannot disagree that he's a fantastic athlete, right?
No,
You
he's
don't
not.
you don't you don't think he's a fantastic athlete?
I,
Okay.
I think his second jump, honestly, like watching them up close, his I think he played against too many bad competition in college. Like a lot of the white guys, from these like the Notre Dames, like these schools who weren't as athletic. Once he got to the NBA, that second jump, to be honest with you, was nothing special to me. A guy like Metu, who was
Mhm.
drafted again in the second round out of USC, is
Right.
literally a better functional athlete. And I guarantee you, if they both took a leaping test, like a vertical test right now, he would jump higher and would have a higher second jump. And this is a second round guy. And again, like you said, Gerald Green, all these guys, like those are athletes. Dante DiVincenzo, 40-inch vertical, like he's not that great of an athlete. And to me, he's very robotic. Very robotic.
Yeah, and that's it, right? I mean, if you can jump out of the gym, during one of those training tests, right? But in the game,
Mm-hmm.
you're always a step slow, a step
It's not
behind.
functional.
It's not functional because obviously like for instance Luka Doncic
Thank
he
you.
doesn't have much of a vertical jump.
No.
Paul Pierce didn't have much of a vertical jump. They're both amazing athletes because they shield their body, they protect the
And
ball,
they
they
took
find
angles.
angles. Yeah. There's a lot of guys like that in the NBA, and it's like we need to
I think we
stop
have to
thinking
find
about it.
different. Sorry, guys. I think we have to find different definitions. I think Bagley
Yeah,
is a good athlete, and and
right.
maybe we just have to find different words for the
No,
really good functional athletes that are like that may not be like vertical jumpers, but understand how to play the game of basketball, like the Wananabis,
right.
like the Scottie Barnes, even though Scottie's a freak athletically, like, people don't understand that. Like this guy's a seven
Well, that's
three,
what I was
7'4"
driving at.
wingspan. Yeah. But
Yeah,
like these guys, like the Bielitsas, right? MVP in
yeah,
Europe comes here, would never think that he moves that quick, but the guy is a turtle. But when he has the ball in
yeah,
his hand, for some reason, he understands how to blow by you, and it's crazy to
yeah.
watch.
You want to know, like, one of the things that a scout once told me about why it was so obvious that Greg Oden was a better prospect than Kevin Durant?
Hmm.
He told me the thing that scared our team off from, had us rating Greg Oden higher was that Kevin Durant couldn't bench press 185 even once. He had a zero at the combine, and that was unheard of. And they just felt like, hey, we
Was
don't
that
want to
145?
185.
I mean,
He
that's
couldn't
pretty
bench
heavy,
180.
but that's pretty
He's an
heavy
NBA
for
player,
for 18-year old at the
dude.
time, though.
But I mean, an NBA player. I mean, there are guys who bench it 22 times, right? I mean, I
Right.
benched I benched
Yeah,
185 last
me
year.
too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
But
so
still, like,
that's my
but
point.
his hands are like 7'4", so for us smaller guys, it's
That that
easier to get
that
off
was
the
exactly
bench.
it. That was exactly
I was
it.
like,
The
what?
wingspan made it so much harder, and he was just not that strong.
Hey,
But it's like I would add,
real quick. Earl Boykins benched like 500 pounds, but he had T-Rex hands. Like, oh, just get off the bench. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
right.
context.
But that context is what's important. Is like because these guys in these suits, right? These I don't want to say white guys in
Yeah,
suits, but
sure.
like why am I making this racial when it doesn't have to be racial? But these old guys in suits, they're
Right.
like he can't bench 185, and it's like it's basketball, bro. The ball does not weigh 185 pounds. It doesn't
No.
matter. You're not benching. It's like, but that's what I'm talking about. Is you got to get away from that. So Scottie has what I would think is solid athleticism, right? In terms of the conventional thing, he has a great standing vertical, great second jump. He gets his hands on everything. He's got a great wingspan. He's got all that stuff. He's extremely strong for a rookie. I would argue he's the strongest player right now, which is crazy at 20 years old, right? With Precious and OG and Cam out, he's our strongest player. He's the only guy who could box out Alex Len tonight. But what's funny to me is he has all that functional stuff that I talk about with Luka
Right.
and Paul Pierce. He finds angles. He has shifty footwork. He never looks out of control. He knows how to go, but he also knows how to stop. Right? He's
That.
always in control. You can't speed him up, and that's so
That.
rare for a young
That.
player that they're not playing too fast, too slow, that they're dictating the tempo of the game. They're reading the defense. They're always in control of it. So even his bad games, they don't look bad. He
No.
never looks out of place, right?
He
And then that's
he never
really
looks
amazing.
rattled, and that's the difference between the number 4 pick Scottie Barnes and the number 2 pick Marvin Bagley from the get go. The guy was rattled, sped up, but that's the difference between these
Yeah,
amazing prospects that come into the league, like the Lucas, like the Scotties, like the Evan Mobleys. Oh my God, it's just
yeah. You
crazy.
got a you got
And
a first hand look at him, right? The other night.
no, it's wow, it's wow. But I do want to ask a question that someone's RP. He's talking about Harrison Barnes struggling.
Okay.
Obviously, tonight he had a 1 of 9, so it was his worst game of the season. He's still averaging like 18 and 7, I think, and he's coming off an
Mhm.
injury. I know in the past you've written about the Rudy Gay trade, which was the Kings and the Raptors. Ultimately, really started the shift right for the Raptors, and we can touch on that a little bit. But is Harrison Barnes the type of guy that you look at his age, and you say, okay, I think he may not be better than Siakam, like talent per talent, like one for one. But if you add a Marvin Bagley, a first round pick, and a Harrison Barnes, do you trade Siakam for that?
Um, it's an
Understanding
obvious
that
fit.
HB like fits like the culture, great human being, a great community guy, and he's also a very good basketball player.
Yeah, I would have my sights set a little bit higher for a Siakam trade, to be honest with you. Like I like Harrison Barnes as a third option on a team that doesn't have OG Anunoby, right? That would be great, right? I like him a lot as a human being. I just like him. Marvin Bagley and a first round pick. I guess maybe it would depend on which first round pick. Is it next year's first round pick? Then
Yes.
I would swing. Oh, I would swing for that. I would personally swing for that because I just don't think that Pascal Siakam moves the needle for the Kings, and that pick is probably going to be top 7.
And you also
So
okay, that's interesting. Okay, so context of the trade, you're getting an expiring deal in Marvin Bagley. Okay, so that's coming off your books. You're getting Harrison Barnes. You have this season and next season, and you don't have to pay Siakam for the next what is it, 4 years, right?
years.
3 years, and you get a first round pick for next year. I think that's a win-win for both teams because I do think Siakam moves the needle in this context for the Kings. Now, whether or not that happens, I think.
How?
Oh well.
How? I mean, you think a core of Siakam, whatever you have at center, and Fox is getting
Rashawn
you.
Holmes, yeah. Rashawn didn't play tonight, or else he would have tortured you guys. But
That's true.
uh,
That's
um,
100% true. Yeah, no, wow, I forgot you guys had Sean Holmes for a second. I was like, wow, I'm a big fan. Yeah, and I mean, okay, maybe he makes you a little bit better, but how much better? I mean, Harrison Barnes is what 18 and 7, right?
mhm.
I'll guarantee you right now, if you look at their advanced metrics right now, Siakam isn't averaging more win shares per 48 than Harrison Barnes. I'll guarantee it right now. Siakam's at like very much league average starter level right now, right? His box plus minus isn't that great. Everything advanced analytics says about him, his true shooting percentage is down. He's just not that great, man. And that's just me talking as objectively as possible. I have nothing against the guy. I don't dislike him. I don't overly like him. I think he's grossly overpaid. I also think, yeah, and I mean, I think, and you know my feelings about Marvin Bagley. I think
Yeah.
he's kind of been his development has been really mishandled, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan of his fit in the roster, and it just sort of creates a glut. My personal I would like Siakam for Turner. and a pick
So
or
you changed
two.
your mind because I thought that was the best deal possible. Like 3 weeks ago, you're like, no, no, and now I'm like, dude, that's a great fit for you guys. So now
It's
you've
it's
come to like
it's
terms with it,
it's more
right?
of it's more of an addition by subtraction thing, now we're getting
Right.
back to the Rudy Gay thing. But your thing is not necessarily addition by subtraction. It's more like just a swapping of similar players. I think Harrison Barnes and Siakam are kind of
But
similar level
but
talents.
you're
You're
getting a
adding a
first
pick.
round pick and you're getting rid of a huge contract, which if you believe in Scottie Barnes, which we both do, that could give the Raptors a flexibility to go out and get a big man either next summer or the following summer where the Raptors will have a better sample size of what
Hmm.
Scottie Barnes truly is. So it's more of like Messiah and Bobby keeping their options open, getting the first round pick, and having the money available to say, okay, look, this is what we did with Kawhi Leonard. And obviously, there's a lot of negotiations, and a free agent will be like, damn, like for real, this is a great culture, great head
Yeah,
coach, great young player. I can see
right.
myself there. That is what I'm trying to allude to when I say you get a real nice piece in HB, an FE piece in Marvin. It depends if your culture is strong enough, which I think it is, to maybe. I mean, get look, Marvin's a great rebounder, so that will help you guys in itself off the bench, whatever.
It's a
And
clunky fit, right? Because right now, look, I don't know how the Raptors feel about this. The front office, I haven't talked to anybody
yeah,
in a while, but I, I would imagine that there's a split, right? There's three really powerful voices in the front office, and I would include Nurse into that. So it's Nurse, Bobby, Masai, right? There's a sort of triangulation there of ideas and ideologies and favorites and who they think is what, right? So from what I read on it, just standing afar,
yeah,
listening to what people are saying, I think I think Scotty is a Bobby Webster guy. I
oh, for
think
sure, for sure.
you know,
We
I think Fred is
we've said
more of
that
a
before.
Fred's a real Nick Nurse guy, right? He sees himself
Yes,
in him, the
yes, yes.
journeyman point guard who's aspiring. He's
Correct.
like a father son sort of
Mm-hmm.
weird dynamic between those two. I see the way that they talk to each other. It's kind of like it's obvious. And then and then for Masai, it's Pascal Siakam, right? And I don't want to hammer home the whole African element of it, but having an
Sure.
African superstar on your team, maybe that means something to him, and it should probably, mean something to him. I think there's a reason why they wanted to get Giannis to come here. There's a bigger element to Masai's big picture. Everything about Masai's big picture, right? So he's always thinking about expanding this game out, and he sees Toronto as the world's team, right? I don't necessarily agree that Toronto is Canada's team, much less the world's team. I think Toronto is
Agreed.
Toronto's team. But they seem to think that if they say this enough, people here will start to believe it, and then maybe they'll make it happen.
No.
And there's a lot of I don't know if there's a concerted effort to make us more global, but you'll see that there's a ton of people on our team from different countries.
Yeah.
There always have been, right? And you gain following, and you become the team that the Japanese media is following now because of Yuta Watanabe, right? He's the best Japanese player in the NBA right now, in my
The Spurs
opinion.
did that for a long time.
Exactly. And you do gain a sort of following, in a small pocket of following in certain countries. So I can understand that the global expansion element of it. And, maybe this is Toronto's competitive advantage. Maybe there's a sort of anti-American sentiment that they're riding on
Mm-hmm.
across the world, right? Where maybe a European team seems to think, and then you kind of become the go-to destination for European players and South American players and African players, right? Because they're thinking like, I grew up as a fan of what team? Toronto Raptors, because of Pascal Siakam, because of so and so. And I think that maybe matters because especially like when you really think about the folklore of the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls, right? Teams, players, I think take a discount to go there sometimes because they have a preference to go there, right? And Toronto is sort of like an NBA outpost in terms of the weather, in terms of a lot of stuff, right? And so for American-born athletes, maybe that's a bit of a sell. It's a tough sell. You maybe have to overpay a little bit. But for the rest of the world, there isn't much of a thing, like Jonas Valanciunas,
Right.
Jose Calderon, like a lot of these guys, Andrea Bargnani, they embraced this place. They really loved it. They didn't
Side
really.
comment: how good would Alperen Sengun been with Scottie Barnes?
That would have been interesting. Yeah, they would have been like the Bang brothers. Like I've never seen two more physical rookies
Oh
in my
yeah.
life. I mean, that would have been crazy. And you know what? That the sucky thing for me is I'm pretty sure that if you can go back in time and make that trade with Golden State Warriors for 14 Wiseman and 7 plus fillers for Siakam, they
They
probably
probably
take it
take him there. Yeah.
because like I think just given how good they are right now without Wiseman, and really they're not good right now because of Kuminga and Moses
Yeah.
Moody,
Yeah.
right? Siakam on that team with Poole, and oh my God, he would be beasting. So I
If
get what they're
Andrew Wiggins is playing his role, just imagine what Siakam could have done with that type of gravity that Stephen Curry provides for everybody, and that type of versatility that Draymond is back to what he's great at, right? Which is
yeah.
just being the anchor of a great the best defensive team in the NBA, hands down.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's kind of interesting because I really wanted them to trade Siakam this offseason for the Golden State package, just because it was rumored that they were interested in
Great
Siakam.
package.
He sort of
Great
fit.
package.
But what's really funny to me is, okay, in an average year, and you have the fourth pick, the seventh pick, and the 14th pick, right? Just say in an average year, I'm thinking like, let's say 2027, you have the fourth pick, that's the 14th pick, and the seventh pick. Are you getting three players better than trade for trade, better than better than Scottie Barnes, Delano Banton, and Justin Champagnie? Like those three guys at 4, 7, and 14? I would say probably not, right? So in a weird way, the Raptors kind of did get their three young pieces, right, going forward. And I'm
But
not
I
even
think they
talking
would have
about David
drafted. No,
Johnson.
I don't think. I know they would have drafted Şengün in that 14.
I feel like they would have too. I think he really fits their profile as a shooting big, as a guy who
Just a
can pass.
high
And
IQ, just a high IQ level big who can
yeah,
rebound at a great. He's better defensively than what the tape said he was, and again, that's because he's putting the work in. So kudos to him. But I think just in this culture, man.
oh,
Oh
you know
man,
what? You know what? I actually want to retract my statement. I don't know if it's 100% for sure they would have done it because this team tends to get tunnel vision a little bit about play style. And you can see in every single player they brought in, multi-positional, positionless basketball. Justin Champagnie is a 2-3-4-5. Okay. Delano Banton is a 1-2-3-4. Scottie Barnes is a 1-2-3-4-5. Right. Şengün is a 4 at best 5. There's no 3-2-1 with him, right? So with a team that's going so positionless, like even Precious Achiuwa, he can guard 2 through 5, right?
yeah, but he's
Every
not good
single player,
defensively.
Precious Achiuwa isn't good defensively, but he is 22 years old and he does have a ton of potential to become good defensively because he has every tool in the
Sure,
world to get there. But
sure,
I mean, the potential train. But I'm saying like there was clearly an MO on wingspan, which Şengün doesn't really have. There was an
right.
MO on positionless basketball, which Şengün doesn't really fit. So even as much as I like Alperen Şengün, and usually who I like is in line with the Raptors' philosophy, I think this year they might have passed on him. They might have passed on him for somebody that fit what they were trying to do more. And I think you might have seen a more rich man's Justin Champagnie type of prospect get picked up there. I don't know who that would have been necessarily,
Then
but
that probably would have been just Moses Moody then at 14 still.
yeah, maybe. And maybe, in a weird way, I mean, the Golden State Warriors and the Raptors have a pretty similar philosophy in terms of how to play and how they think. The front office is. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up picking the exact same two players that the Golden State Warriors did in Kuminga and Moody.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
but it's interesting that the Raptors, a team that was slowly aging out, and there was not really a great blue chip prospect on this team after that championship run. And people were trying to sell it as Siakam, but it's not really the blue chip prospect you're looking for. And 2 years ago, they kind of looked old, right? There was Gasol, Ibaka, like everyone's getting a little bit older, Lowry. And this team just went into this offseason and just retooled. And now you've got three rookies on the court blowing the Kings out. Sorry if that hurts your feelings, but it's
I'm used to
true.
it.
Yeah, it's a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old. It's insane to me. Young players do not usually know how to win. Like you cannot have three rookies on the court and expect that you're going to go on a run that's going to ice the game. Like that's crazy to me. Because young players usually have tons of bad attitude, tons of bad habits. They have lapses in focus. They don't play defense when they're not directly guarding them. They give up so much, right? So that's kind of, I think that the Raptors are in a really good position because they happen to be the least experienced team in the NBA. I don't know if
Right.
that's something that a lot of people realize, but they, in terms of games played, they are the least experienced team in the NBA, which means that if you believe in the 10,000 hour rule, then the Raptors have the most potential for growth from game 1 to game 82 than any other team, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also a complexity element here where certain teams just they just run out a slightly simpler system defensively. I think the Raptors defensive system is a little bit complicated, and there are very
It
few
is.
players like, Marc Gasol, right? The Gasol brothers are two of the smartest players probably in league history, and I don't get enough credit for that. Pau Gasol picked up the triangle offense faster than any player ever,
Could
and
Şengün have been the next Marc Gasol? I think
I
so.
don't. I
I think so.
why are you saying could like he died in a car crash? What are we talking? He's like,
Oh no no
what do you mean?
just
For us?
because I just say it because I believe in his just overall feel for the game. I feel like in this type of culture, he could have picked up a lot of things defensively, and he's already picking up things defensively in a bad culture like Houston.
Yeah.
So I think in this type of culture where in the playoffs when the game actually does slow down, and you have an 18-year-old MVP in the Turkish league who can get you a bucket in the post and is a willing passer, I think that fits. So maybe I think functionally, you like I think you and some Raptor fans in the comments are thinking about it. Oh well, he's not the 6'11" that can run like a guard, but he is
He,
a
he,
piece.
he's 6'11".
Yeah, but not like the he's a 3 or a 2 or like he's a center. I get it, but sometimes you need that guy that can take charges, right? Like this, like the guy that may not get a lot of shot blocks, but he will, put his body in the way because he understands feel and defensive awareness. So that's why I think that he could have been your Marc Gasol, which is why I'm like, damn, if you make that package for Siakam in the 7 and 14, that to me that'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think again, there's so much that has to go right there, but ultimately the Raptors have to agree with what you're saying, and I guess what I'm agreeing with, which is that Şengün has like super potential. Do you like him more than Jalen Green?
I don't. I had Jalen number 3 and I had Şengün number 7.
Yeah, but now that you've seen them a little bit more,
I don't. I'm not a
don't know.
prisoner. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I feel like you have to wait at least 3 years for some guys who have just insane potential, like James Bouknight. The other night was like
Yeah,
6 or 7 and that was the first time he actually got a shot at play because his whole team had COVID, and
yeah,
obviously he destroyed the Kings, but
yeah.
he was doing it against a very good defender in Davion Mitchell and just coming off a screen, just showing that functional athleticism that we keep talking about, where he may not be like a Zach LaVine, but he's a shade under that, and he can score on all 3 levels, 3-point shot, attack the rim, and hit that midi. So that's where someone like him, he was more of my dark horse. I put him at 4, but looking back, I should have had Mobley at 3 or 4 for sure, but these are the
Three
guys
or
where
four. Who are
I
you
mean,
putting over Mobley? Are you kidding me?
no, I mean hindsight 2020, no shit. But I'm just saying like before
Yeah,
the draft, like I should have had him higher is what I'm saying. I mean, it's not crazy to think that he was 6. Like there's still a lot of question marks about him that
it's pretty crazy.
he's
It's
already
pretty.
answered. That he's
Yeah,
already answered in like a week. I was like, God, diggity, this guy is good. So it was kind of like Thomas Robinson, where I'm like, this guy's a bust.
let me tell you the
As soon as he
craziest
touched the
thing about.
basketball, we all knew he
Yeah,
was a bust. Like
let me
we
tell you
we
something
saw it.
crazy about Evan Mobley right now. I will tell
Good.
you right now, if the season ended today, he would be top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting.
That's crazy. Wow.
He would 100% be top 5. Draymond would win it because the Golden State Warriors are that good. But Evan Mobley has turned this Cleveland Cavaliers team into a potential
They're good,
powerhouse.
bro. They're good. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they're enormous, and everything they do functions around him and Okoro, and Darius Garland just looked
No,
awesome.
I would say
It's mainly him, but
no,
but like
I
he
would say the sleeper is definitely what's his name? The big man.
Şengün?
No. The Cavs center. I'm
Oh,
flipping
Jared
on
Allen?
Jared Allen. Oh my God, like he's playing so well right. He's playing at an all-star level. Like that
Yeah,
guy
he's
is
really good.
17-11 every single night.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of underrated what having a guy like Mobley, like I was watching some Mobley film the other day, and look, like I keep saying I'm the biggest Scottie Barnes fan in the world, okay?
Second.
But it is very
Second.
hard.
Second.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You had Evan
Okay.
Mobley over him. Stop it. You had Evan Mobley over him, and I think you still do. And like deep in your heart, I still think you do. But it's okay. Like we're not
I
wrong.
don't. I don't anymore. But
Okay.
but I will.
Then you're the second. Stop it.
Just because you had him higher in the draft board doesn't mean like you're a bigger fan. But look, we're not gonna go down that line. But what I am saying is that I mean everything that for everything that Scotty's been offensively, Mobley has been just as good, if not better, defensively.
Yeah, I agree.
Like what he's doing defensively is absolutely insane. Like I watched some tape the other day where guys are literally changing direction when he's 10 feet away from them. Like they're angling their shots because they know that this guy, for him, 10 feet is 1 second. That's how quickly. It's scary. Like he's so good. And the crazy thing about him is he's only going to get better, right? He's extremely hard worker, super humble kid.
Once he gains weight, oh my gosh.
He may never gain weight. He has those rounded shoulders that Chris Bosh had. I don't think people expecting him to fall out to like 250, 260, or I don't think those hold their breath. But you don't have to be Zion to be strong, right? Like him just becoming a man, right?
Yeah, right.
And not losing, because part of what makes him so great is his quickness. I don't want him to lose that. I don't think he can, but I don't want him to lose that. And I think just his length, his size, the fact that we're not playing in the 90s with Ewing and Mourning out there, right? And Shaq, he's not going to get killed, right? He's long enough that, and he's bouncy, he's agile, he's laterally off the chart. It's like this draft truly did contain 2 unicorns. And that's kind of weird to say because the whole definition of a unicorn is it's not supposed to be that common. But I think the last couple of drafts have been a little bit underwhelming. And I think it's all building up to this draft. And there's these 2 guys in this draft. I was watching Bill Simmons do like a redraftables of like 98, 99. And it's like every draft has like some guys who turn into all-stars, right? But very few drafts have 2 guys who have the potential to be like top 50 all time, right? Very few drafts. Like a couple of guys, 2, 3, like the Nash plus Kobe in the same draft, or like the LeBron and D Wade and Melo in the same draft. Like that's crazy. I think this draft, especially if Cade continues to blossom the way he's doing, if Jalen Green can find his footing, I don't know how psychologically he deals with the fact that he gets injured and his team just becomes the best team in the NBA. Like that would mess with me personally. That might mess with my confidence. I'm not Jalen Green. Jalen Green's not shy on confidence, but it's kind of crazy, right? Like we cannot deny the fact that they were probably on record to become the worst team in the NBA history, and he goes out with an injury, and Houston goes on a 7-game win streak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to engage on some of these comments that people are saying, and I think a lot of people agree with you that just Mobley is just insane. People are saying we're not engaging with them, but we are in a way because we're touching on all your stuff. MK says yes, Mobley erases all the mistakes, and then some guys talking about how the Kings are going to draft a girl next year. I mean, come on. I'm not engaging with nonsense either. I'm sorry. Like,
wait, what was the comment?
Yeah, he said Kings got to start drafting smart and not be a gimmick or a first in history pick. They're gonna draft a girl next year just to try to break barriers. I mean that's uncalled for. It's just ridiculous. That's more of a troll comment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, there's Rosie who says, Leo, can we trade you for Buddy here, a Raptors fan here? Obviously, I think they've been watching my shooting stroke as of late. I've been shooting lights out, Robert.
No. They're talking about trading you for me. They want you because I shit on the Raptors all the time.
No, I think they've been watching me shoot the ball, man. So give me some credit there. Hey, man. I gotta watch you shoot, Rob, because I know your last name ends in Vitch, so you gotta put up some damn highlights, bro.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good shooter, bro. Like I couldn't do much else in high school, but that was pretty much all I could do. And it would be funny because I would be warming up before the game. And I hit like 35, 43s in a row. And the other
God damn.
and
Okay,
the other
you that good, huh?
yeah, and the other team's looking at me like, oh, this guy is gonna light us up for 50, and then I didn't even start the game because I couldn't do anything else. And honestly, my shot form was pretty slow back then. I had to speed it up as I got older. But when I was 15, 16, I had this very funky shot form that just happened to go in all the time. So it was good free throw shooter, but I wasn't good for much else. Because like I remember we were doing high school. It was like grade 9 versus the grade 12 guys, just as a fun exercise. And this guy who was on the senior team, he blocked my shots. He Evan Mobley'd me. Okay,
Oh,
he was in the paint when I started my shot. By the time I launched it, he blocked it. Can you imagine that? Like that was crazy. And he was the star of the team. So that really messed with my confidence. I was like, oh my God, like I need so much space to get my shot off, which is why I'm actually very cognizant of shooting forms in the NBA, right? Which is, I was a
right.
little bit wary about Tyrese Halliburton for that reason of like, how's he gonna get that shot off? It's weird, right? So anytime you see that sort of
Do you shoot like Peja? Like up?
I wish. No, it wasn't like that. It was a little bit more like oh man, who's the player that shoots like that? It was like a little bit more like Cade, like right in front of my face a little bit.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
just a really, really bad thing. So I had to, as I got older, adjust it up because I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'10". So it was like
Yeah.
I'm not, so like whenever I'm facing a guy with like a little bit more length than me, it messed with me a little
You're
bit.
right.
But yeah, open shooting, yeah, I can do that.
Vin says everyone is tradable on the Kings, including De'Aaron Fox. It's time to swing for the fences.
Yeah, be careful for what you wish for, man. Because, like, honestly, like, okay, like, there are certain players, like De'Aaron Fox, that are really, really talented, and you put them in the right situation, and you might just be talking about the guy in the same breath as John Morant, right? But he's not in that situation, so you're, saying like, oh, I'll trade him and
Hmm.
get what? Like, what are you trading him for, right? You're gonna trade him for
Exactly.
future assets that you're gonna hopefully draft a guy as good as
Again,
him
like
3 years
him,
from
yeah, in
now.
like 3 years. That's the dumbest. That I try to tell people this every day. It's like,
Yeah,
do you really like? You're not drafting Luca. That window
right.
is closed. So people just dwell just too long on draft mistakes as opposed to
Yeah,
thinking, let's gather the best talent possible, build it. Yes, maybe I was wrong about De'Aaron potentially one day being a top 10 player and being the Batman. Okay, that's fine. I'm wrong. But let's not act like he can't be a second or third best player on a championship team. That is very realistic, and to me, that is the case right now. So why not build on gathering pieces? Maybe you get a second Robin, and then you just start to shift the culture the same way the Raptors did when they traded away Rudy Gay. Like all it takes is to start winning right now. Perception league wide, the Kings are a joke, and nobody wants to come in because they keep losing. So why would you restart and hope you get a guy like Fox and wait 3, 4 more years when the streak is already at 15? People don't understand the business side of it, the
yeah.
optics of what that means to a season ticket holder. Hey, I'm intentionally losing like the Oklahoma City Thunder. What? Why the hell would I want to spend my damn money on a team who is intentionally losing? That makes zero damn sense, especially when you haven't made the playoffs since 2006. Make that make sense to me, Robert. It just doesn't, man.
Cultural stability is such an important thing. I was looking at the Kings head coaches, like what we had like so many coaches over the last, 15 years, and none of them can win, right? Luke Walton was the second winningest coach in the last, 30 years,
And he
right?
was awful.
And he was awful. Like he
Yeah.
didn't have a 50%. I was looking at the Raptors. They had 4 coaches, I believe, that had over a 50% winning
Dwayne
percentage.
Casey had more wins.
Yeah, Dwayne Casey was, he had over 50%. I think Sam Mitchell had over 50%, if I'm not mistaken, right? He was close. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? But that organizational stability is important because I think the Raptors have had, I think, 6 coaches over the same time the Kings have had 12, right? So that sort of stability, I could be wrong. It might even be 5 or
Yeah.
4. It's very few, right? I mean, what are we talking? Triano,
Right.
Sam Mitchell, Dwayne Casey, Nick Nurse. That pretty much covers. That's like 16 years
Yeah. It's
of,
good.
of Raptor basketball, right? I mean, that's some organizational stability right there, and also players, right? When you turn over people this quickly, it does mess with you. And I get it. I think a lot of fans, they sort of ascribe their own feelings to team building, right?
Right.
And so it's a little bit like, oh, I spilled something on my mattress, throw out the mattress, right? It's like,
Correct.
you know what I mean? So, but with teams, right?
Put
You
some spray
sometimes,
on it and like wipe it down, right? Try
yeah,
and clean it. Try to tweak it. You don't have to blow it up and just throw it away,
yeah.
because your next mattress may not be that much better.
The term is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So that is the actual term. And so I think you have to identify which pieces on this team. And that's the same thing I think the Raptors should do is look at this team and say what works, what doesn't, what needs to move, what is it worth, right? Because
Right.
sometimes you have a guy that isn't helping you very much, but the perception around the league is that he won't help anyone very much. There might be a guy on your team that the perception of him is very good, and maybe he's not helping you as much. So I look at it more like an asset management sort of situation, right? Is a stock overvalued or undervalued, right?
Correct.
So a guy like Fred VanVleet, for instance, right? Oh man, Raptor fans hate how I feel about Fred VanVleet,
I
but
hate how you feel about. I just feel like because he's hot, he's featured as the guy. You give him a lot of shit for it, but
no,
it truly isn't his fault. Like
yeah, it is.
that's what Coach Nurse is featuring him as, and it just
Yeah.
happens that on a true contender, he'd be a 3 guy, like the third best player or even fourth best player. It's not his fault that he's
Okay.
featured that
If,
way.
if you
It's not.
who are the true contenders? Brooklyn. If
Hmm.
Kyrie Irving's healthy, he'd be coming off the bench. Okay. If
Yeah.
Golden State, if
Or
Clay's
wait,
healthy,
wait,
he's
wait, wait,
coming
wait,
off
wait,
the bench.
wait.
So how is he?
Brooklyn's not
How is he?
fair. I mean, Brooklyn's not fair. I mean,
Why?
it's
No, no, no. You
because
said
it's rare.
true contender.
But it's rare when you have Harden and Kyrie.
Okay, let's be real here. You said
On
true
LA, he
contender.
starts right,
On
which
LA,
again,
he starts with who?
he's.
Uh, LA
I
is not
mean,
a contender.
he's.
LA is
Oh,
eighth in the West.
I mean, they're not a contender, but like he definitely starts over Russell Westbrook.
No, he
Uh,
wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
oh
You're
my
not. You're not.
God,
Yo, you are not paying the
what?
guy for. You think that they would have Russell
He's a
Westbrook
better
come off the
player.
bench? No, he's not.
Oh my God.
What does he do better than Russell Westbrook that's other than shoot?
Everything,
Shoot and defend. But Russell Westbrook is a much better passer.
everything.
No, come on.
Russell Westbrook is
Come.
a sixth man on every single team. It just happens that perceptionally speaking, his name is bigger than his actual skill set. Put that on the
Okay,
shirt.
I
Russell
thought
Westbrook's name is big is better than his skill set. That's a fact, not an opinion. Stop it.
oh my God.
Is
We
Russell
are
Westbrook worth $40 million?
no, no, he's not. But he is not
Is-
as trash as you think he is, man. Like you are
Oh
getting
my
washed into the perceptions.
Oh, no, I'm
Dude,
not. Russell hasn't been that good like in 3-4 years now. It
that's
just
not even
happens
true.
that he averaged a triple
That's
double.
not even true. He had almost a career year in Houston, dude. Look,
You're the
here's
guy that
problem.
hates box score stats, and that is
Yep.
exactly what he does. He is an empty calorie player,
Okay.
and here you are defending him because
Okay,
your
hold on,
hatred for Fred is so big that you can't like.
It's not.
It's
not that,
crazy.
man. Dude. You know that I'm a guy who hates box scores, and I'm defending the guy. Should that tell you something?
Yes, that's telling me that you just don't like Fred.
It's not about that.
Fred's a champion. Russell isn't. That
that's-
simple.
Okay. So if Russell Westbrook was coming off the bench for the Raptors in 2019, you don't think they would have won the championship? Get the hell out of here, man.
No, because
This-
Russ would have ruined it for you guys. Russ would have
Okay.
never made the amount of threes, of clutch threes that, and this
Bro,
is a fact, he would have
Fred
never
VanVleet
made.
shot above 50% 5 times in 24 games. That playoffs. He was shooting 10% against
And I
Philly. Are
guarantee you,
kidding
Russell
me?
wouldn't have hit one game where he actually had a game like that.
Okay, dude.
On that team, wait. On that team with
he would've
Kyle
shot under
Lowry,
10%.
on that team where Kyle Lowry had the ball in his hands, Kawhi had the ball in his hands, Siakam at times was highlighted more as a second, third best player, and then Marcus Gasol would work in the mid post. Where the hell would a guy like Russell Westbrook's playing style would have ever worked? Stop lying to yourself, brother. He would have never worked on that team.
It would have been a different team. But my point is,
Thank
like
you.
with that many great players, you would have made it work. And let's not forget,
Oh,
Russell Westbrook was, dude. Are you kidding me here?
Oh my
Russell
God.
Westbrook was a starting point
He's
guard
a
at
cancer.
21 years old.
He's a cancer.
Okay, stop with your hating. 21 years old, he was in the finals as a
With
starting point
KD
guard.
as the best player on the team. And guess who
Doesn't
ruined
matter.
it?
He was de facto the second best player, and that's not something you can say about Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet has never gone to the finals as the second best player. He hasn't gone to the finals as the third best player or the fourth best
I'm
player.
talking about right now. I'm talking about right now. Fred is a better basketball player. There's not a GM in the league that would take Russell Westbrook over Fred VanVleet. Not one. Not one.
That's because of the contract. Fred VanVleet makes
No,
21 million, and Russell Westbrook makes 44.
That's just because Fred is just better.
You understand that the Lakers pretty much chose to go with Westbrook over Lowry, right? I mean, you can argue that's a mistake, and I will argue that's probably a mistake.
Oh my God, that's a mistake.
But look, to anyone out there who hates Russell Westbrook, and I get it because the media hyped this guy up like he was the next greatest player in the world, and people were like, but he's not. And now people go the extreme other way because he loses in certain situations. This guy is a winner in a sense too because he's been to the playoffs a lot. Okay, yeah, he hasn't gotten out of the first round. You know who else hasn't gotten out of the first round? DeMar DeRozan. Like DeMar DeRozan was like consistently in the first round, second round, and out. And there was a running joke. And now people are talking about him like he's so great because he's in Chicago. He's in the right situation. Look, at the end of the day, it's talent. Okay, Russell Westbrook is a better passer than Fred VanVleet, and it's not even close. Russell Westbrook is an amazing passer. You can argue it's selfish assist, but his actual vision for the game
is selfish assist.
Okay, yes, he stat chases on the assist. I get that, but he's an incredible rebounder. You cannot deny that, and that helps. Okay, on a team like the Raptors, having a point guard who grabs 15 rebounds would really help us. Having a point guard who can actually see.
He also has Steven Adams, who boxed out everybody in his way to grab those rebounds, and there is film to actually prove that.
No, I understand that, and I will tell you right now that it is functionally relevant for your point guard to get rebounds. The transition time, like Tommy Heinsohn had this to say in his Hall of Fame speech. He was talking about how teams don't play fast anymore and how he finds it so ridiculous that teams don't allow their centers basically to run up the court because they waste so much time with the center, scanning the floor, trying to find the point guard, and they lose that precious 2 seconds of that first pass instead of just passing it up. And that's why teams that have guys like Nikola Jokic and Vlade Divac and these generational type of, big men who can pass the ball, even Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, that's why it unlocks the game so much because these guys, they don't have to waste the time. They can actually swing it up the court. They don't have to look for a point guard. They can find a streaking wing.
Fred's averaging 5 boards a game. That's actually not bad at all for a point guard.
Oh, it's not bad at all. He's been really good. And look, he's having a career year across the board. Okay. He's the only Raptor who's above 1 in box plus minus. He's pretty much leading our team in a lot of categories. He's been really good. His true shooting percentage, I think, is team best. He's having a really good year. I'm just telling you, he's not more talented than Russell Westbrook, and that's not even close. You can argue he's a better player in terms of the role that he plays more within his role, but I could argue that
I'm not arguing talent. I'm just saying he's a better player.
I think mainly the difference is on the defensive end. Okay, Fred VanVleet,
which matters, which is the reason why the Lakers are trash. I mean, I've seen Russell already twice this year in person, and my God, he is literally 1A. Cole Anthony is 1B. These brothers just don't give a fuck about defense, and it's sad because Russell actually has the tangibles and the athleticism to give a fuck and play good defense. And to me, that is a loser at heart. I'm sorry. I cannot accept, and he would, Messiah would cut his ass if he would ever play with that type of energy on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but, it's on coaching too, right? I mean, I'm just saying
he just won the championship. What do you mean? There's no accountability for Russell Westbrook, who's been doing this for 4+ years now on the defensive end. He gets steals, and oh my God, no, he's not. Watch the game of basketball. He's not a good defender. He hasn't been for a long time. But if you just look at box score numbers, holy smokes, he is not a good defender.
I don't think Russell Westbrook's a good defender. I don't think Russell Westbrook necessarily wins basketball games. I just think that he's a better. When I say better, I mean more talented. Okay, let me just put that out there. the reason I say more talented is because I think that talent can be functional in different situations. So, for instance, Russell Westbrook in Houston, when they played with him pretty much functioning as the center on the team, right? That team was incredible with him playing that role, right? But if you play him the way that they're playing him in LA or the way they played in Washington, yeah, he's going to struggle. I think that that's not necessarily on him. That's also on coach, right? It's on his coaches to understand what kind of player you have in him. I think, it's a weird thing, right? Like, I think he has a role probably as a sixth man. And honestly, as
That's
a
what he
sixth man,
is. He'd be
he
a
would be
great
the
six
best.
man.
He would be the best sixth man ever because he really does have like that, and his ego probably will never let him come off the bench.
Right.
But his talent is incredible. He's one of the most talented players in the NBA.
Sure.
Like, hands down.
Sure.
As a scorer, downhill gravity, passing, just the touch around the rim is pretty decent. He's got a lot. He puts so much pressure on defenses, right? He's a special type of player, right? He is a unicorn in a lot of ways. You've never seen a player like him ever, right? So it's sad that the mentality that he plays with is one that's so conducive to losing. And Fred has been better coached, in my opinion. And he plays a better brand of basketball for the most part, but his talent is not even close, right? And the other angle, I would say, the angle for Fred over Russ is age, right? Fred VanVleet's a considerably younger player. At this age, I think he's what, like 27 versus 31 for Russell Westbrook, 32. So like, I would not make that trade, but I'm just telling you straight up, like, Fred VanVleet will never be more talented than Russell Westbrook. Like, that's never going to happen.
Like, he doesn't need to be, though, and I just want to make that very clear to a lot of people. He doesn't need to be more talented. There have been considerable players in NBA history who weren't as talented as X, Y, and Z player, but guess what? They had better NBA careers, and by de facto, they were looked at as better basketball players. Tim Duncan, like, just fundamentally sound. Like,
that's a bad example.
I don't give a damn. Like, if people see him as the most boring player ever,
he's my favorite player of all time.
Go on, I know that. That's why I said that. I just want to rile you up a little bit. But Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward to ever live, but yet a lot of people don't give him consideration to being a top 5 player in history or a top 7 player in history. Like, this dude was just a beast of his generation. As much as I love Kobe,
you're
as much as I love Kobe,
right
no, I know. I'm as much as I love Kobe.
Fred VanVleet with freaking Tim Duncan.
No, I'm not. I'm
leaving.
As much as I love Kobe Bryant. Wait.
Leave.
Well, let me fix it. As much as I love Kobe Bryant, and I'm gonna name my son Kobe, probably if my wife allows me. He was not better than Tim Duncan, and that's saying a lot. And not seriously. I'm not naming my son. That's my neighbor's name, man. I'm not doing that. Hey, man, I know you got to be up early tomorrow. We've had a great conversation. We're 57 minutes in. There's a lot of micro content pieces here that we can use. Who is better? Name the title, Russell Westbrook or Fred VanVleet. I'm sure I get a lot of views once we cut that out by itself.
Oh, that's going to end my career. Don't do that.
Rob, any final words, brother, man? Let's put some catchy music on, man.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're a Raptor fan, hang in there. I think with OG Anunoby coming back, hopefully soon, that hip pointer has been a bitch of an injury. With Kem Birch, I don't think people understand. I was talking all year about what a difference Yuta Watanabe was going to make, and he has made a difference for this team. All that losing has kind of stopped when he came back. Players like that impact winning. So right now, the Raptors have 2 players out that really impact winning. I would argue they have 5 players total that really impact winning, and 2 of them are out right now. So when those 2 guys come back, Kem and OG, I think it's going to be a wrap. Like, I think I said it the other day. I think the Raptors have a 10-11 game win streak in them at some point to just right the ship. I think they're a much better team than people give them credit for. I think Siakam and Fred VanVleet have been good. I think Gary Trent has been really good. I didn't come into the season liking Gary Trent.
Me neither.
I've come around to it. He takes bad shots now. I no longer have a headache. Like, he's okay, right? Like, he's making them, and for the most part, he's gotten better. And Fred VanVleet, for all the shit I talk about him tonight, he tried to make the right play a lot. Like, his passing was pretty decent. Like, tonight, so I think generally speaking, this team is a little bit better than people give them credit for, which is crazy given how young they are. So,
yeah,
optimistic.
on Trent, I think shooting 38.4 now, which has gone up from beyond the arc. That's pretty good. If he can sustain that for an entire season, that's a
He's a
win.
steal. He's a
Yeah,
steal.
and also he's been a lot better with deflections. I think he's at least top 5 if I'm not mistaken, and deflections, which helps. So yeah,
He's getting a little bit better at not making as many boneheaded gambles. Like he used to, like again, deflections and steals are usually a result of gambling a lot, right?
Yes, it is.
And he sometimes when he would gamble, like it would be an open 3 every time or a transition bucket, and it would be like shit. He's not helping you enough to make up for what he's costing. But now those mistakes are few and far between, right? So he's doing a lot more good than he is bad. So I think it's positive for him. I just think with OG back, because OGs are pretty much when before Siakam came back, he was our number 1 usage guy. So he was their featured guy on offense. When he comes back, Scottie's hitting threes now. Gary's hitting threes. Pascal's better.
When's he coming back?
I don't know. They pushed that injury return date back twice, so I'm hoping for around Christmas return at this point. But he'll be well rested, hopefully. That he took a lot of minutes early in the season, and OG's a guy that always peaks late. Yeah, he's always a guy who peaks around the playoffs, and yeah, we're talking playoffs now.
Boy. Oh, playoffs,
yeah,
playoffs!
I think tomorrow night will be a really good test for this team. I expect a solid showing. I think they should be feeling good about themselves, but hopefully not too good tonight, right?
And to finish it off, guys, Jason says, Tim Duncan or Dirk? I'm going to go with Tim Duncan. But yes, thank you guys 100%. So much for all the love and support. Raptors Nation, Kings Nation. We'll be here covering these teams all season long on this channel. Make sure you check out Rob's channel. The links are in the description as well. It was a great show, man. Thank you so much. It was fun. We got to do this again soon. It's always a blast talking basketball with my brother Rob. That's going to do it, y'all. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. More breakdowns are coming. A little bit of everything, man. We're loving the growth here, and we're just going to go from there. Step by step, day by day. It's going to be a long season. Buckle up, man. It's going to be a hell of a finish to both teams. And the trade deadline is right around the corner. I can't wait to cover that, man. But on behalf of the entire Basketball Zone family, we'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.